Today we're immediately getting started by putting up the wiring on the fence. Finally! And what he's doing here is just cutting the vertical lines in between the wires so that he can take the horizontal part of the wire and wrap it around this post. And cutting those vertical wires off are going to take a long time. Now the next step is to feed the wire through this back fence, pull it through and wrap it around and take it through this front fence, which he needed my tiny hands for because the bottom of this front fence is very tiny. The holes are small. It's like they're 2x2 instead of the 2x4 or 4x4. And of course we had help from Dexter. Now that the first wire is through, putting the second wire through, with Dexter's help, of course. Now the third wire. Dexter always has to supervise, and give his approval ratings while he gets his pets. He didn't need my tiny hands to help on this one. He's up high enough to the bigger holes now, so I do not need to do this anymore. Now that it's through those fences, he is trying to just pull the wire as tight as he can and not give it any slack. And he's going to wrap it around all the way to the other side. He's going to have to walk into the pin to pull it and staple it on the inside of that post. Now he's being supervised by our livestock guardian dog, Khaleesi. He can't catch a break. Just pulling that wire through these fences as tight as we can. And then he will tighten it up and nail the staples in. And now I am just holding it taut, I think that's the right word, with the hammer, which I switched to the tin snips because tin snips hold it better. And I wish I had remembered that for the next day that's coming up, and you'll see why in a little bit. But I wish I had remembered that the tin snips hold this better than the hammer does. And now the bottom two wires are finally stapled in, and we get to do that all the way up the post. We are only planning on attaching these wires to the post today. We'll be lucky if we get this all the way done. Of course, the first couple are always the hardest and take the longest. He no longer needs my help. He's almost done, so I'm headed inside. It's the next day, bright and early in the morning. It's 6 o'clock and he's already been out here for about an hour. Looks like he's made some pretty good progress and stretched quite a bit of the fence already. This is the fence stretcher that he uses, and he has two boards, one on each side of the wiring, and screws the boards together. And then he wraps this chain around the whole thing, which is being tightened up by a tool that he calls a come-along. I am not sure if that is the proper name for the tool. It's some sort of ratchet lever winch that makes it tighter. You can loosen it or tighten it. And then the whole thing is being dragged and pulled by the tractor, and that's what helps it get really tight. Right now he's trying to even out the wire. He's trying to pull the bottom wire more towards the tractor because the top part of the wire is already straight enough.
Get this part
straight
over a little bit more.
So he's trying to fix it with his winch that the bottom half pulls tighter than the top half currently. And I wish I could tell you how it works, but I have no idea.
Now I'm literally pulling from the bottom.
Oh. Ugh, I'm not awake enough for this. It's way too early in the morning for a physics class. Now we're coming up to the part where I said about wishing I had remembered that the tin snips worked better than the hammer to tighten the wire and pull it because I get hurt here. And at this point, I was just trying to figure out if I broke my kneecap. It's a new day. After that fiasco, I went inside for the day and I was done. And the next day, he pulled the fence all the way on this side down to the road. Now, it's not completely tightened. He's only got a couple staples in part of the fencing. And so he's going to finish pulling it here and tightening it up and adding more staples. So he's bringing his boards along to put them on one on each side of the fence, and then he'll screw them together and attach the chain. Hook it up to the come-along and tighten it, and then pull it with the tractor. Now he's going to walk down the fence line and check all the posts to see if the wire is straight at every post. And of course, you never get it quite straight the first time, so you have to redo it. This process took a while. Now what he's doing here is adding about another foot of board to this post because we cut the big post, the corner post, exactly 8 feet, and we should have gave this one a little bit more because we didn't take into account that the hill dropped here. And so where we placed this post, it's lower than the rest of the fence line, and so this post is only 5 feet tall from the ground up to where we put it. I hope I'm explaining this well. But we're attaching the board to the post so it gives that post an extra foot and something for that last top foot of wire to grab onto. Now that the board is attached and in place, he is stapling the wire to the board, and then he'll staple it into the post. Lots of hammering and more hammering, and this is hard hammering. I cannot do this. I used to be able to, but I cannot drive a staple into a post anymore. I just don't have the arm strength to do it. And finally, the wire is up. All the staples are in. It's as level as it's going to be and straight as it's going to be. So we're done on this side, and we are done on this side all the way up to the road. Now we just have to put a fence up on this side over here next to the road, and then the gates in the driveways, and that should keep out the deer, hopefully. If you've watched this far, thank you so much. It really helps out my algorithm, which helps my channel grow. So thank you for watching all the way to the end. And until next time, feed the pollinators for me.